Hello, good morning, and welcome to Lake Placid. We're in the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York on a beautiful Friday morning, ready for one of the busiest days of ice sliding that the sport has ever known. Hello, everybody. I'm Martin Haven. Sitting alongside me is the FIBT bobsleigh expert, John Morgan. John, we have got such a busy program today. For anybody coming to Mount Van Hoevenberg, there's going to be a wealth to see.
First World Cup of the year, a lot of rookies in the field. We'll get into that. A lot of school children coming into the venue. Busy day, though. We've got 4 different competitions, men's, women's skeleton, and 2-man and women's bobsled. So, Martin, you're going to be busy.
Yeah, we certainly are. We've got 99 sleds to come down the hill today. And as John said, between the runs of the bobsleigh competitions, we will have skeleton top 10s. But what about this Lake Placid track, John? One of the toughest in the business.
Well, tough place for the athletes to start off with the first part of the year. You know, it's about a 1,500-meter track, a mile in length, and the drop here's pretty quick. You have to, Jamie Grubel, the United States, and her brakeman Evans have got the start record. And here out of curve 1, long straightaway here. Then we go into what they call Cliffside. That's named after a spot on the old track, which is adjacent to us. Whiteface, that used to be part of the old track, built for the 32 games, so they've tried to rename some of these corners to keep the tradition, but boy, doesn't matter what the corners are called here. It's Devil's Highway speaks for itself. This is where the sled starts to motor 75 miles an hour. Shady. You want to exit here in a slingshot effect on the bottom. Again, here the 3-corner combination called the Labyrinths. Now when the Benham's bend, it drops down here into a chicane. This is not straight. It's a little bit of a curve in there. 4.5 G's of force here into the heart. Another quick transition here in 1819. This is delicate. Into the finish, now you start to go uphill. No mistakes allowed going up here uphill. You can throw away a lot of time. Pretty challenging track for the athletes, Kiriasis and Viaker. They're in the field today. They got the record set back in 2010.
Well, December 2010, last World Cup race here. The track record was set by Sandra Kiriasis. And since the year 2000, only German women bobsleigh teams have won World Cup races here in Lake Placid. World Championships, though, have been won by other nations, including in Canada, taking victory. Well, it's nice chilly morning. Beautiful bright sunshine there. You can see the world champion, Kaylee Humphries, on the left, the reigning Olympic champion as well. And Sandra Kiriasis, the track record holder for so many years, the benchmark.
And the gold medalist from the 2006 Winter Olympic Games, too. So.
Absolutely right. And you can see a whole host of new
track and field athletes.
We got 3 rookie brake women in the 3 American sleds and a rookie brake woman behind
Jillian Cook,
our Olympic champion as well. So there's, it's 2 years out from the games. We've got a lot of new blood coming into these teams.
This is when they start to come into the field, though. Here's our start list, top 10 according to a draw. Russians first one's off. They'll get the best ice. And USA's Alana Myers drew 10, and then the second seed, 16 total sleds in the field.
Clear the track.
You know,
track is now clear from the finish to start number 1.
Field, that's about an average field for women's bobsledding in North America. There's one of the many decorated German coaches, Matthias Hoffner. The Russians start to build their program on the way to Sochi.
We're looking here at Anastasia Tambov-Seva. She drives the Russia 2 sled. It is a random draw in the top 10, so your name just comes out of the hat. She's now 29 years old, former 4x100 meter sprinter.
Her nemesis has been start time the last few years. Her driving skills have improved. The Russians didn't have a very celebrated World Championships here in Lake Placid last year. In fact, it was, I'm sure, not a very good trip home for anybody in the Russian program. Zubkov, the top gun, got disqualified in the first heat of the 2-man. And I think that set the stage for the Russians for the rest of the next 2 years.
Stand by.
Tambov-Seva, the rubber sprinters came in fairly light and has spent the last 2 or 3 seasons trying to pack on the power and the muscle. And of course, she sits down trying to learn all these tracks just to find out how the sled works on the ice.
Well, clean trip so far. Now we're going to see, watch the sled here in a Bennett's Bend, into the chicane. This is where you can throw a lot away. She did good there in the sense that she balanced from left to right. She didn't try to steer away from the wall. Speed is everything down there. And you can see the shades are up all over the track, and they expect bright sun, and they've got a long day, and they're very worried about the ice temperature here with 99 sleds coming down the track, it's going to be tough to keep it great conditions for all athletes from first to the worst.
58.08 their first run. Track record 56.90, so we're a ways from that. It was pretty cool overnight. Let's take a look down. Critical element of this track for speed at the bottom is the chicane.
Well, look at the way she bounces off. Look at the runner tips. She's not trying to steer away from the wall. That's the correct move. Just hit the bump and go straight. But now she gets up there too high. Pivotal part of the curve. Now she's diving out a little bit. Consistency at the high speed. The less you steer, the faster you go.
There is Anastasia, regular brakewoman Ludmila Udobkina behind her. They've been paired together for 2 seasons, into their 3rd year now. You need that gel to make it all work. Germany won. Anja Schneiderheinz, a former world champion brakewoman, and now a world champion as a driver as well, with Franziska Bertels behind her, providing some extra starting power. Not that she needs much.
Watch this, start time. These are 2 great athletes. This is probably going to be down into the low 70s. 5:57. Excuse me, I was way off. Now I think this track record's got a chance. I think if she has a clean run here, she could get down to the low 57s, maybe challenge this track record.
Track start record 5:43 set back in October. That'll be the first week the track was open.
Now this is a great athlete, former Olympic gold medalist behind Kiriasis in 2006. 4,600 lead, and she should start to extend that, got a chance to challenge the track record. Very smooth transition there in the labyrinth, but she's not pulling away. Clean, look at the runner tips, a little mistake. 122 kilometers, that's about 74 miles an hour. So we're going to see a mid-57 here. Not the run I thought she'd have with that 5:57 start. 57:54.
Christoph Langen, another former brakeman in the German setup, who turned from an Olympic brakeman into an Olympic driver, and coaching who Anja Schneiderheinz is making exactly the same progression.
Start, look at the feet, look at the heads moving forward, not side to side. Go look at the German brakeman locked in. Watch her get in, get down, and I'll say this, with cat-like movements and get in there behind the driver. You don't want to see the brakeman here at all, and you don't. Nice aerodynamic profile, and look at the animated Christoph Langen. He lives every sled coming down right on his forehead. You can see that.
Start number 1.
It's him driving it himself, thinking his way down the track. There's Anja Schneiderheinz. She is the #1 German pilot. Very quick, and now very experienced.
Spiess, another great German driver. The Germans got some Hall of Fame set of coaches.
Junior world champion Paula Walker with Jill Cook behind her. Their Vimmer sled has been modified by Formula 1 team McLaren as part of Great Britain's drive towards Sochi. It'll be 50 years then since a Olympic gold in bobsleigh.
Paula, one of the tallest drivers in the field. She's probably the biggest driver in the field. 5:64, that's a really good start for this Great Britain team. Walker, a good driver. Her problem has been she has to be perfect every time down the track because she's usually 20 hundredths behind the top sleds at the start. I'm impressed with that.
She won her world championship medal on this track, John, so it's one that she knows and likes.
Ooh, a little late there. Devil's Highway, out in the shady. +6, she's coming back. This is impressive. Speed's going to be important. Look, she's got the lead. 123 speed in the left, 123.4, best speed. Good lines into hard. Wow, this, watch out. I think we've got Paula Walker making a statement here.
Well, what a great start to the season for Paula Walker.
Whoa,
the lead
impressive.
From Germany 1,
yeah.
Germany 3.
Yeah, one of the favorites that I've had for the last couple of years, making a big coming out statement. I said was going to be Schneiderheinz, and here it is. It's the Great Britain team, Paula Walker. And I think it's pretty obvious. You look at Paula Walker 2-3 years ago and look at her now. She's a lot more scripted as an athlete. Look at the line here on the one side of the wall. Now watch her tap here. That's up top where you can't make any driving errors at all. You have to be very quiet with your eyes and your hands. Good, the transition there. She let the sled run. She wasn't steering at all.
Is now clear from the
really
finish.
let the speed carry.
Runner tips. Look at the eyes. Look at the aerodynamics. Good run. She didn't try and steer away.
1:23.4, top speed.
Impressive.
Wow. Great Britain the leader. Here is Sandra Kyriasis of Germany with her chosen #1 brakewoman, Berit Viaker.
Well, this will be the pretty good barometer. Let's listen. Choreography on ice. They do that dry land training 1,000 times in the summer. Viaker, big girl, couldn't get in real quick. 5.76. Boy, that's one of the best drivers in the world is this Kyriasis, but she always won most of the races in the past decade with her start. Then she developed driving skills. She's going to have to really have the magical eyes and hands coming down the track. She is at a deficit related to the start. If she's more than 2,500s here, trouble. Now, she stopped the bleeding. 20. Next clock, she gets it down to 12 or 14. She's got a chance at the bottom. 16, here she comes. I don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to be right to the 100 from her and Paula Walker, but she's got the better speed. Well, we've got a close race coming up here. This is going to be single digits. Either way, look at +4. Probably going to be green numbers, single digits. But a great run by probably one of the most talented drivers.
57.42.
Look at him. Look, you think he was happy? There's a driver. That type of deficit to come back all the way down this track. She used to win the races with her start skill. Now at her age, she's winning with her driving skill. Look at the runner lines. Watch the way the transition on and off the curves. Watch the way the heads. Look how smooth that transition is. Talent.
That's the experience of 15 years on ice, John. Double Olympic champion.
Look at this shot. She's coming right through the middle of the gap there. And who has the best speed? Yep. Well, start deficiency. She's still the leader at the bottom. But she's got to be perfect every single heat. She can never make a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
With that type of start time.
4 sleds into the season, our double Olympic champion there, and our reigning Olympic champion at the top of the hill. Brand new brakewoman making her World Cup debut from Saskatchewan, Canada, Chelsea Valois, behind Kaylee Humphries.
Green spikes like that. Look at the technique. Look at their head. Stays perfectly straight. Boy, for a rookie, she has got some pretty good skill. 5.57. I think Kaylee Humphries has found herself a pretty good break. Kaylee Humphries had the best start in all 4 heats at the Olympic Games when she won the Olympic gold medal. Very rough transition there on the exit of 3.
Kaylee and Chelsea known for those ballistic.
Wow, but look at the lead. 3,400s in front.
You're going to see it down in the 20s, I bet you, the next clock, because that was a bad speed. There's the 20s. It's going to continue to fall back, but could be green at the bottom. The speed, she's going to need 123 and change speed to have a chance at the bottom. 122 speed should be in trouble. There, look at that. Sideways, though. So she picked up good speed, but she's found every part of the track to hit. She's still fast.
Wow.
Should be the leader, but
Coach Tom Delahunty will be happy with that. 57.20. There's Graham Richardson on the left, who's joined the Canadian setup.
That was not a smooth trip. So that whole thing about smooth is fast, wrong. She hit everything in sight, and she flew all the way down the track. She couldn't have made more mistakes. Here it is on the exit of 3. Watch the runners. See the runners? She's almost trying to drive it away, and that's why she hit again. And she's skidding going on the take on to 4. Now look in the chicane. Look at the great aerodynamics, but I see a little bit of the brakeman back there. They'll correct that. That's the way she's riding in the sled.
That's her shoulders,
She's still at 124 kilometers.
They were talking about that after training, the way she sits in the sled to get her head down. She's quite tall, as you can see, and she was banging Kaylee in the back of the helmet with her helmet during training, so they're still working on that.
She's only got 30 trips down the track probably in her career, so
tops.
Not a bad run for a rookie brakeman.
And the great thing about making mistakes and being the leader is you know that if you tidy them up, you've got more in the tank. Next up then, Austria's Christina Hengster. Her #1 brakewoman is Inge Versen. She's been a real stalwart in the Austrian braking lineup. Hengster, 26-year-old former junior world champion. 2012 junior world, she took gold.
Had a breakout season last year, medaled in Innsbruck. Seemed she was always around the top 5 or 6. And it's pretty safe to say She's got the bobsled bug. Ooh, little drift there. That's a no-no when you have a deficient start time. Watch her in the exit of 3. Corrected. Boy, that's deficient start time. She can't make any mistakes.
She's coming through the Devil's Highway.
This is where she's a good driver. She proved that last year. Watch the transition. Smooth. Good. Yeah, not bad. She's holding it. She had a 24 deficit. Still, now it's 23. Speed. Ooh, that's a rough transition there in the last part of the lap. It's down to 21. Speed on the left is everything. Not bad. Still a pretty good run for a sled that had a deficient start time. Down to 17.
Wow.
Give her credit. She's got driving skills too.
This is going to put a third.
Wow,
Second
great
place of the
run.
night. What a bottom half she had. Wow.
Well, when you start with the 4th best start time and you're able to finish up with the 2nd best time overall, watch it. She'll be happy with this. Watch. There, you can hear her yelling. Really good aerodynamic profile. That's what I like about her on the sled.
She was 1,300 slower than Kaylee Humphries at the start. Finishes 1,200s behind Kaylee Humphries.
A little rough transition there in the labyrinth, but that's normal procedure for a lot of sleds. I tell you, Hankster, but we've got Walker, Hankster. We got some people coming out this year that have a little bit more confidence than the past.
There's your race leader, Kaylee Humphries, from Christina Hengster. Canada lead Austria, Germany and Great Britain, 3rd and 4th on a sunny morning in Lake Placid. Next up, Alana Myers, USA 1 driver. Again, a former brakewoman, converted to the front seat with Olympic athlete Tiana Madison as her rookie brakewoman, making her first World Cup start.
You know, this is Tiana Madison's Olympic debut, or her last Olympic debut, or in this sport, excuse me, her last competition. Ooh, the push bar was out. It's in now. 5:53, great start. Myers is one of the best athletes on tour. Madison a little light. She's only 130 pounds. She's going to have to put on some bulk weight, which in bobsledding. But boy, these two teamed together with those type of start times, they're going to be lethal out here too.
She was on the podium as a brakeman.
Madison, sprinter from Tennessee. Last sprinter from Tennessee in the sport of bobsledding. A guy named Willie Gall made the '88 Olympic team. Competed at the U.S. at the World Championships in Altenburg in 1990. Ooh, down 100. Speed going to be 123 and change. There it is, low change. It's going to fall back a little bit more, but still a good run. +8. Well, we got a close race here. We're going to have some sleds that are bunched.
Second place for USA. No, slips to 3rd in the line. 57-37, 500ths off second place, Christina Hengster. But a good season opener from Alana Myers.
Well, the other thing, too, she being 130 pounds, I'm sure if she puts on 10, 15 more pounds, that's the weight they take out of the sled. When the sled is lighter, it's easier to push. So, you know, in the German girl, I would say the average weight of a brakeman in the sport of women's bobsledding is about 145 to 160 pounds, within that. Speed. Alana did carry the speed. Look at the runner tips. Good aerodynamic profile by Madison at the back. You don't see her at all. Give that rookie a plus there. You can see Myers with the 5th best speed, but you can't even see the brakeman back there. So they obviously taught her how to ride in that sled very well.
Well, these 3 rookie brakewomen are learning the sport very fast. It was only October that they first came here to get thrown down the mountain in a sled. And here they are in a World Cup race early November. Next up is Russia's Olga Stulneva, formerly Olga Fedorova. Coach Malcolm Lloyd on the right-hand side.
Yeah, they confused us when we saw that name because this is a track and field athlete. She competed in Athens in the 4x100, I think, was silver medalist. So, hey, track and field athletes making the crossover. Here's a good one. And her start time, of course, 5th best start, surprised. She's been headstrong. This is her 3rd full season on the tour. A lot of crashes, a lot of brakeman changes. Didn't have good results last year. From what I hear, that Sochi track favors people with start times. It's an easy track to get down, tough to get down fast. A little bit like Park City, which we're going to be at next week. And I think the Russian hopes for a medal in women's bobsledding is right here with Olga Fedorova.
She's definitely their #1 at the moment.
I say Fedorova, it's not.
Yeah. We'll get used to that during the season. 121.9, not
no
great
speed. perplexing with that start to be more than a half second off. So just because you have a great start, it doesn't mean you're going to have a great descent down the mountain. Look at the coaches. You can tell what the coaches think of that run.
Well, traditionally, this isn't a track the Russians have come to a lot. Often they've missed out on World Cup races here, so it's not one of their strongest suits. Yeah, see that Olga overjoyed with that.
Look at the driving here. Look at the runner tips. Off the side of the wall, in a little bit late. Here's pretty good. She got on early. Not bad driving. You know, maybe the driving's so good that she's driving too much. These lines are perfect. You know, the fast line, we saw Caitlin Humphries come down, hit everything in sight. She wasn't steering. So maybe Olga may be steering too much, but boy, that was not a fast run at all with that type of start time.
Next up, Germany 3, Kathleen Martini, former world and European champion. She's now just turned 30. She's the youngest of the 3 German sliders, our reigning European champion. She's got Kristen Zenkel right behind her.
Well, we talked about Kiriasis being the best pilot in the field. This girl here has lived off medium average start times, and she's got world championship titles and all sorts of medals and victories. And I would say I'd have to put my vote into her as the best driver in the world. What she's done in her career with the best start time, I think she's going to see it right here. But she's way down. Look at that. She's a half second down, but she start time of the 8th best start. Maybe that's you can't overcome that. You know, she's down to 47. She'll stop the bleeding. She'll get it down maybe to plus 28 or something. But when you're that far back at the start, it's tough to compete in this sport.
She might end up top 6, but she's certainly not going to end up top 3. 124 is good numbers. Top speed is 124.1.
Great speed. Still, she's going to be. Look at this. She's going to be. Luckily, if she's in the mid-30s, that'll put her in probably in the 7th place.
7th it is. 57.60. Look
at that. He knows it too. Yeah. I mean, she was. This was not a good sign for Kathleen Martini at all. Now,
well, habitually she has, like Marion Thies in skeleton, a way of finding speed down the track, but today just couldn't dig it out.
Look at the line. How good a line is this? I mean, it's a perfect line. You can see the speed, but she's already gone. Her time is already gone at the start. And she didn't really gain anything on the way down, even with that big speed on the bottom.
She's starting number 1.
Well, like everybody else, she's using sleds that have to fit into a specific size and weight box. Even things like the size of the aperture are governed to make sure that it's not too narrow for bodies to get in. 340 kilos maximum weight for the sled and crew.
And the women's rules are they're 50 pounds lighter than the men. Understandable. Well, here's another little Swiss miss who's got some good driving skills.
Fabienne Meyer, former junior world champion.
If she gets away with a start time in the 60s, she has a chance to get in the top 3. 76. Big deficit to overcome.
And she's very petite. She's only 5'2", 5'3".
Watch these drive lines. Watch these drive lines. Didn't touch. First leg didn't touch coming out of 3. This girl has got some eyes, some hands. She's 4,300s down like Martini. You know, that was related to the deficit start time. Look at the speed. Look at the. She's not touching it. Watch the. It's going to be crucial here at Benham's Bend right here. Look at the 122.7. No speed at all. You know, it's very easy to sit here late there, second guess and say, maybe she's driving so good it's too much. Because, you know, the fastest sled come down the tracks, Humphries hit everything in sight. Look at her duck her head there for aerodynamics. Look at the Swiss shake their heads. They're going to go, this is going to be a long season.
Well,
and the World Championships are on her home track in St. Moritz. You know, she'll be favored to win a medal, but boy, she's going to have to improve that start time.
Well, she was 4th overall in the World Cup rankings at the end of last season, John, so she does have the skills, but didn't show them here in this first run. Take a look at the start.
Her arms aren't locked. Look at the driver. Watch her get in, get down. Watch the brakeman get in, Barry. She's got to get in there. Look how high she is here. Look at the runner tip. She's not steering off there.
Is scheduled for a 10 o'clock start. The men's skeleton ran 2 runs yesterday. They're a 3-run
that's
race.
runner's equipment. She was slow all the way down the track.
First 10 of our sleds are down the mountain safely. It is Kaylee Humphries of Canada, the world champion who claimed the gold medal on this track in February, who leads from Christina Hengster of Austria. She's perhaps the surprise in the pack. Alana Myers third for the USA. We have much more action still to come, boys and girls. Stay with us.
Just a spectacular Adirondack day as we look out over the mountains. Next week they talk about the temperatures being here in the 60s.
Yeah,
we get the clubs out again.
I hear that, yeah, it's going to be golfing weather Sunday.
We'll be out there in Park City, but we won't have that chance. But I'm being told that's the weather forecast coming in. Our hearts and everything go out to all the people down in New York and New Jersey. Just the weather, another storm. Somehow we missed that northeasterner up here. We didn't have much of the hurricane other than some high winds. The track crew out here, Tony Carlito and his crew have done marvels to put the track in order to even stage the event. They do a nice job here of bringing the kids out. They let the kids out of school. They bus them out here. It's a great, great exposure for the sport. It's Friday. It's not like we're going to be drawing crowds out here on a Friday, especially with what's happened. They come out, they give them a nice Olympic experience, and they do a little education with them. And, of course, Lake Placid has been doing a little bit of an Olympic experience for a number of years out here.
Well, John, you grew up here, as part of a bobsledding family, and everybody here knows when the track is in action, and everybody welcomes us so warmly when we come here. And it's great for the kids to be brought up with this heritage.
The bobsled athletes say they walk in the grocery store and people are saying hello to them. They say they always get really great hospitality for the athletes when they come into this town. But I think it's safe to say that this is definitely a bobsled sliding, skeleton luge town that people really like their sliding sports. And as we say, Jim Shea just walks in front of us. Jim Shea Sr., 64 Olympic Games cross-country guy, and his son won the Olympic gold medal in skeleton. So that represents what Lake Placid has to offer.
Sun is shining on Mount Van Hovenberg in upstate New York. We're on the Adirondack Mountains just outside of Lake Placid at the bobsleigh track that in February held the World Championships. And it was that woman there who claimed the gold medal. Kaylee Humphries leads our World Cup season opener, but her brakewoman from February is now her rival in the Canadian team. Jennifer Cacchetti is driving the Canada 2 sled. So the gold medalists raced with each other February, race against each other in November. That's an interesting dynamic. And Kaylee was asking this morning, has that ever happened before? Chances are it probably hasn't. Well, we've had 10 sleds down. This is sled number 11. The Australian men are in Park City getting ready for next week, joining tour. This is the Australian women's sled. Astrid Radjanovic, new brakewoman Fiona Harrison from Barnsley in Yorkshire, former British slider, now on the back of the Aussie sled. So let's see how this combination gels.
You can see here that Astrid doesn't wear gloves. A lot of drivers love that feel, that sensitive feel.
5.78, Astrid Radjanovic.
Astrid, she came in, you have to fill out forms. Who's your coach? Me. Who's your trainer? Me. I said, you do everything? Yes. I get no help from anybody. Recruited this brakeman this year. She says, we're not going to be very good. The equipment's not very good. I might get a little bit better as we get on to Europe. But, she represents, she's pretty good times, for what she's got for a start time. But this is a pretty little persistent athlete right here. And if she ever gets any help from the Australian Federation, this girl's competitive. Give her a good piece of equipment. She's competitive.
What she's got, she makes look absolutely pristine. It's a beautiful looking sled. It's not the newest, maybe not the fastest aerodynamically.
Ducks her head there for aerodynamics. She has a good piece of equipment. She's competitive. What she's got, she makes look absolutely pristine. It's a beautiful looking sled. It's not the newest, maybe not the fastest aerodynamically. Ducks her head there for aerodynamics. That's her backup brakeman, and she comes to the captain's meeting, not her coach, because she is the coach. I mean, you talk about doing everything yourself. A lot of people help her out on tour. A lot of athletes, a lot of other countries do, but she represents what the sport used to be, really, and everybody had to do their own thing.
As you can see, René Spies there, one of the great German bobsledders.
Helping the Germans, helping them out.
And, you know, the Germans have got big enough operation. They like to take the smaller nations under their wings.
She's a little high up in the sled. She's got too much going up and down with that bounce. That might be the way she's sitting in the sled. Good lines. Start time deficiency, though.
Well, like they say, she is an Aussie battler. She is not giving up on this. Next up then, Jasmine Fenlater, USA 3. Jasmine from Ewing, New Jersey. Good. And her new brakewoman is a well-known name, Lolo Jones.
Hit it now. The hurdlers, they got steps between hurdles. I wonder if Lolo's got a step procedure. Boy, she was in and down quickly in that sled. 560 start, not bad.
Well, the sled known as Pinky was a bronze medal winning sled in the Vancouver Olympic Games.
Jasmine, I give her a lot of credit. She's a lot more sculptured looking athlete than 3 years ago when we first started seeing her get in the front seat of the bobsled. She's got the bug, and she is good driving lines. Look at this, some great driving lines.
Right in there for the
With that start time for her to be in that position at this point, fourth best start. Little tap there, lost a little bit back. Mid 123 on the left. Yeah, they were low 123. Ooh, saw a little bit of Lolo there on that hit. Shouldn't be seeing the brakeman at all, but just as her rookie, this is her debut in the sport. A lot of moving around back there, but that's what she'll learn. Look at her duck her head for aerodynamics. 6th place, not bad. Not bad, not bad.
Gotta like that.
Hey, congratulations, Lolo Jones, another track and field athlete making the crossover to the Winter Olympic sport of bobsledding.
Go and have a look on YouTube. One of the American athletes was down here filming the first day all these rookies came in and ran down the track. Lolo's reaction, first time a bobsleigh track. That's pretty magical.
Yeah, she says it was like being put in a garbage can to get thrown off Mount Everest. Look at the steps now. She probably has 21 steps. Get in, get that. Well, she's in quicker than the driver, though. You know, but hey, that's learning experience. Good lines there. You can see her bounce up a little bit, though, on that hit. Let's see if we can see her through the chicane. Do we see the brakeman at all? No, good air. No, bounced up a little bit there. So you see her head came up a little bit.
Well, this is part of the skill of being a brakeman. Yeah. This is what they have to learn. And we were down here in training. They're saying, how do I ride? How do I sit behind you? How tense?
She's only got 25 trips probably down the track, but her athleticism speaks for itself.
Returning to the World Cup again this season for the Netherlands, Esme Campus, rejuvenated Dutch program. Judith Vis, an experienced brakewoman behind her, and a good start, 564.
Well, we've seen Esme have some bronze medal performances a couple times. In Cesana a couple years ago in the European Championship, she had a silver medal, I think, on that day. But last year off. This is when everybody starts their Olympic challenge, and this year before the Olympics. This is when you start to get focused, see what you do against the rest of the field. These are great lines. 3/10 back, should be speed, probably low 123, no, 122.4. She's going to continue to fall off the pace here.
Way 5th at the start, down to 9th place at the moment.
Top 10 maybe. 9th, 156.
Is that puts her in a time? No, just a couple of hundreds in front of Olga Fedorova, Stolneva as she is now. So 57.76. And again, as you say, John, you know, a year away from the ice. All right, she's been doing a bit of training, but it takes just a while to really blow those cobwebs away.
Yeah, and
get the touch back.
Yeah, look at the driving here. I tell you, the women's bobsledding is starting to mature. We don't just have a couple German athletes that are great drivers and teams. We've got 7 or 8 teams in this field. These female athletes are really, really consistently knowing how to drive bobsleds now. Remember, it used to be just 2 or 3 people.
Well, listen, top 5 sleds, 5 different nations. Canada lead Austria, lead USA, lead Germany, lead Great Britain.
Used to be a German, maybe somebody else leaderboard. In fact, German a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times, but
still is in luge. Now then, Olympic brakewoman and reigning world champion brakewoman Jen Cacchetti with Kate O'Brien behind her as the Canada 2 driver. Jen did run some World Cup races as a driver last year, but then got back in as brakewoman for Kaylee. Their last race together, they claimed gold here in February.
Notice about her, like Kaylee Humphries, one of the only athletes in the field with goggles on. And, that's an old Pierre Luder's trick, Kaylee Humphries told me. And Jennifer's gone on that route too. Pierre Luder's big news, of course. He's coaching the Russian team now, the Canadian over the Russian program. And
start time once again, a 5.64 the time.
2400's back. Start time, 5th best start. I mean, Cichetti's great. That's what you need. Great athletes in the front seat of the sled. There's some really good athlete drivers in the front seat of these sleds. Down to 40 isn't bad.
Again, her driving
great line,
experience.
No speed though, real bad speed.
Her driving experience is only a year or so.
She's new. That track favors an athlete like this. That track in Sochi. It's a lot like Calgary, a lot like Park City. Doesn't duck her head, 11th best time. No speed in the bottom part of the track. But don't forget this young Canadian athlete. I think when she starts to figure it out, she's got the athletic skills.
Well, she's tied with Fabienne Meyer of Switzerland, who's got like 8, 9, 10 years more driving experience.
Out of 3. Look at the runner tips. Bang.
In our first heat for the FIBT Bob and Skeleton World Cup.
Takes the
That's bad. Not bad there.
For the 2013 season. Great racing
look
yesterday.
At the goggles.
Great racing today. A full day today.
A little high, I think. Look at the brakeman. You see the brakeman bouncing around back there. That air is everything. The exit of that air as it comes over that sled. In that hole. See that big hole? It's in there. There's a lot of air going in there over the top of the brakeman. That's called that dirty air. And I'm not a physicist. There's a lot of conversation about air coming off the back of that sled.
There you saw Jen with the braids and Kate O'Brien making her World Cup debut. And another debutante, Asia Evans, behind Jamie Grubel in this USA 2 sled. Another track athlete who may possibly start to wonder what she's got herself into.
Well,
it ain't warm here, John. You know, that's the first thing. It's not a warm event.
Jamie Grubel, heptathlete from Cornell University, coming off knee surgery last year, so she didn't compete.
It is her 29th birthday today.
See, she comes from the back and runs to the front of the push bar. A lot of athletes lock themselves in the push bar and use those spikes. 1/16 of an inch spikes. There's about 350 of them. Look at that start time.
Wow.
Okay, Grubel is she's big and she can run. And she's just coming off knee surgery and she's been driving 3 years. First time I saw her, I said to her, Jamie, get right to that front seat. She spent a year in the back with the brakes, acclimated to the sport. But pretty intense competitor. Plus 11, good heat here. Of course, she had the start. And she's been down the track probably 40 times already this year. 19, lost a little bit. Of course, she's running late in this run. Speed? No, way off. Speed has really dropped off. I think the speed's gone on the track. But she could still finish in the top 7 or 8. 6,500's off. 31, no, this is pretty decent to me. But that type of speed, to be only 3/10 off.
8th place at the moment. 9th as she crosses the line. Just 200s behind Kathleen Martini.
She's got a chance to really move up in the second run. She's going late. She's the 15th sled off the hill. She's going to go second off the hill in the next run. She's going to have an advantage. She could spend a little time on that leader's box.
It should be about halfway.
6. So it should be 6th off the field.
Halfway through the run.
Look at the start. Look at her arms. A little bit more locked. A little bit more away from the bar.
Look at the knee height of Asia Evans. Wow.
Yeah. And this is the skid here out of curve 2. Little late coming off there. See that transition come over and tap? That's a 1/10 of a second minimum. Yeah, and then no speed down here in the bottom part of the track. Good line. Good line. Look at the speed. See, 11th best speed. Yep. So that little tap up top, and she's running late. 15th in this run. I think has a lot to do with why she had the 11th best speed. With that start time, she should have been better than that.
Yeah, we haven't had a 1:24 since the 5th sled down. Now then, final slide for Ekaterina Kostromina with Natalia Kalashnik. Now, Kalashnik has made World Cup starts before. As far as I'm aware, Kostromina is still to complete a full World Cup year. This is her rookie season, coached by Malcolm Lloyd. But she's got potential. She was 6th in the Junior Worlds in February. first time in North America, so it's a tough track to break you in on, isn't it?
Yeah, this is not really what you want to do for your
there are easier
debut in your
American
career at this
tracks.
track. Yeah, this is like going to Altenburg for your first experience.
3,400's off at the start, so this is not going to put her in the top 10.
Just don't understand why the Russians, who have got the Olympics coming up, don't have more, athletes in the front seat who have really good starts. Because if you don't have start time in this sport, unless you're here just for the ride down, you have no chance. Your start time, you got a chance. Safe line, just amazing. This track used to really be challenging for everybody coming down. I'm talking multiple crashes. Right now, we're seeing the 60 sleds come down here perfectly.
They've been saying in training, John, this is as fast as it was for the World Championship in February. And when you think that the hurricane came through here just, 2 weeks ago?
Less.
Yeah, Tony Carlino and his crew done a great job. Well, she's down safe. That's the vital thing. 58.84 leads her at the tail of the field. She'll get her second run right at the beginning of Heat 2. So she'll...
A little perplexed, though, that she's got the 16th best start time. If you're going to bring a driver into competition the year before the Olympics, you've got to make sure you got a start time.
Well, again, maybe it's the track. This has got a reputation like Altenburg. It's not the one that you're going to rip off the biggest start of your career first time down.
Not when you got a 591 and the best starter in the field has got a
549.
Wait, what's that word in Russian? Night?
Yet. Not quite. Well, there she is with the braids, Ekaterina Kostromina. Certainly at the junior level, she had pace. We'll have to see how that translates. But the Russians are really hunting around, They've got one good, strong men's crew, one good, strong women's crew, and that may not be enough. Katie Humphries knows what it takes to win gold on this track. She leads here after the first of our 2 heats. But she's got a tight battle behind. Austria's Christina Hengsten just 1200s adrift. Alana Myers for the USA in third, 1700s back. That's one twitch in the wrong place from the Canadian, and gold goes elsewhere. Wow, look at this. We might be getting the clubs out this afternoon. No, we're kind of busy, but it is going to be a beautiful day. There is your top 10, 16 sleds safely down. No dramas for the drivers, no near misses for the rookie brake women. Of the American rookies have already had that initiation into the club of real bobsledders being crashed, and all 16 sleds come down. So they will go in reverse order at the start of the second heat. And now we are ready for the next track action. Between the bobsleigh heats today, we have the top 10 runoffs of the skeleton races that started yesterday. But for the women bobsleigh, time to go and think about the second heat. Focus, re-prepare, and see who can step up to challenge the Olympic champion for gold on this Lake Placid track. John Morgan and me, Martin Haven. Stay with us, lots more action coming from Mount Van Hovenberg. We're going to take a quick pause. Be back with the action right away.